Nobody. Nobody will ever get to the bottom of the Epstein case because nobody wants to, and nobody wants you to. We'll talk about it if you'd like. It's the usual subject, the usual point of view, because Jeffrey Epstein is portrayed as a lone predator. You know, the lone ghoul, this sexual freak preying on young women. But that narrative protects the very machinery that enabled him. You see, the deeper story is not about one man. It's about a network and a story and a cover. Child sex trafficking was real and horrific, yet it was only one layer. The other layers, the other strata, tie into money laundering, arms networks, and financial blackmail, and intel ops, intelligence operations. All that stretch back decades. It's a fascinating story. And that is why corporate media retreats into shock and disgust as soon as his name is mentioned. Freeze the public emotionally, and you prevent them from asking the important questions, the million-dollar questions, the forbidden questions. Who trained him? Who used him? Who erased him? Who dispatched him? Who expurgated him when he stopped being useful? Or was that the intention the whole time? But if you get into this, people will say, oh, you're being cloak and dagger, you're being conspiratorial. Call it what you want. We are never going to get someone under oath who testifies under oath and says, here's what happened, sorry. No affidavits, no sworn testimonies, no nothing. No declarations of fact, sorry. No depositions, no lawsuits. You're never going to get anything like that from any intel op or intelligence agency. That is not how this world and that world operates. Intelligence is built on plausible deniability cutouts, black budgets, tax havens. What we do have is a pattern, a recognizable pattern, a trail of sudden promotions and unexplained access to power, and a long record of unlikely, coincidences, things that make you say, that repeat across borders and industries and decades. And if you stack the evidence, it begins to read like operational history, almost like reading the paleontological record, the various strata, the layers of fact of history. Epstein's rise makes no sense unless someone opened doors. College dropout becomes Wall Street partner, becomes global fixer with access to royalty, weapons traffickers, and presidents. How? Why? Who set the table? That is how real investigations begin. How did this even happen? It doesn't make any sense. He introduced himself as a financial bounty hunter. He specialized in tracking stolen money and hiding that money offshore. And that takes training. It's funny how quick study he is. Where did he learn this from? That takes access to international banking structures and a lot of know-how and a lot of experience. From where? A lot of help. That takes clearance. Those are skills normally reserved for agencies and middlemen or operatives trusted to do things a government can't admit to doing. And his circle reflects it. He appeared alongside wealthy arms contractors, foreign intermediaries, and financiers linked to political influence around the world. I mean, the story is incredible. Even his travel tells a story. After leaving a major investment firm under questionable circumstances, he was reportedly on a private jet heading to the Pentagon with a well-known arms network figure. No degree. No official role, yet suddenly present in high-level circles. That's not normal. That's placement. Look at the familiar strategy known, has been referred to, you might have heard it recently, as playing the box. It's a fascinating term. What it means is, it's a street game term, but it's also an intel term. It means you commit crimes with others in a way that ties them to your wrongdoing. If they expose you, they expose themselves. This isn't street strategy per se. It's intel tradecraft. And somehow someone taught it to him. And whoever did understood its value. Compromised people rarely act on conscience. They act on fear. That's power. One photograph, one recording, one bank transfer, and careers and lives are controlled silently. Blackmail is not always spoken aloud. Sometimes it just lives in a folder, waiting for its moment, waiting to spring. He was hired at an elite Manhattan school, the Dalton School, with no credentials at all. And the man who hired him had direct ties to America's wartime intel service. Years later, that hirer's son oversaw Epstein's custody when he allegedly killed himself. But that didn't happen. That same hirer even wrote a novel about a future ruled by sex slavery under oligarchs on another planet. And it reads almost prophetic. When symbolism mirrors history too closely, it is rarely coincidence. It's culture among the powerful, hiding in plain sight. Oh, and Jeffrey, his rise continued. His contacts drew him deeper into elite circles. Wealth concentrated into his hands. Properties were handed to him. Billionaires trusted him. Why? Where did the trust originate? Why did foreign and domestic power brokers engage him as a handler of finances and a gatekeeper to influence? Why? Something was being traded beyond money. Consider the White House. 17 visits during a presidential administration. That number was hidden for years. The aide who arranged those meetings later turned up dead. Officially suicide, yet discovered hanging with a shotgun wound to the chest, and the weapon allegedly far from the body. Interesting! I think Quincy might find that a bit odd. Another associate died in a French prison, also ruled suicide. Ain't that something? Another man convicted in connection with a massive financial fraud reportedly claimed that Mr. Epstein was the true architect. He, too, is now gone. How many suicides does it take before someone asks who might have been worried about testimony? This is why the media repeat the trafficking narrative endlessly. It's emotional, it's horrifying, and it stops investigation at the moral level. Once revulsion is triggered, curiosity shuts down. See, they don't want the public asking about Iran Contra money pipelines or banking irregularities or ties to intel networks. No. The sex crimes were real, yet they may have been only one component. The other components reached much higher and might not have been as interesting to a lot of folks as tawdry sex stories, but they're more important. See, they intersected with offshore finance, savings and loans collapses, junk bond schemes, political influence operations disguised as charity. Oh, it goes on. A blackmail system is not built for fun. It's built for leverage. Two political parties protect the same secret, not because they care about his victims, but because exposing the full network would trigger a controlled demolition of public trust. Big donors exposed, party leadership exposed, celebrity allies exposed, media producers exposed, foundation owners exposed. One scandal could rip through multiple institutions at once. So it's contained within a narrow frame that keeps the public disgusted, but never informed, shocked, but never in the know. Useful men are protected until they are not. When they become liabilities, they're cut loose. The timing of Epstein's downfall, the timing suggests internal conflict. Something changed. Someone became uncomfortable. Someone pulled the plug. Morality didn't bring him down. Timing did. The protection vanished. Then so did he. And the machine kept running. The message was sent. Don't talk. Don't dig. Move on. Nothing to see here. The people who still ask questions are smeared as fringe or conspiracy-minded. Yet every serious investigator understands that power does not announce itself. It hides in patterns. It hides in language. It hides in where cameras suddenly fail, and when the guards suddenly fall asleep, and when too many people die alone in rooms that were supposed to be secure. Ain't that something? This case is not about one man's evil. It is about how modern power really operates. Quietly, consistently, without oversight, without accountability. His story reveals how influence moves money, how agencies run parallel structures, how leverage is harvested, and how it's stored and used. The pieces are scattered, but the shape is visible if anyone dares to assemble it. But nobody's going to look. Not in the mainstream media. They're too worried about their jobs. Newsrooms are being shuttered. They're not going to ruffle any feathers. No way. You got to know where to look and whom to ask. So ask yourself, speaking of asking, if so many figures benefited from his silence, why would they ever risk his voice? If institutions waited decades before acting, why trust their motives now? If every trail leads upward, how long will we pretend it ends with him? Because every time those files stay sealed, one more message is delivered to the public. Do not bother looking. Nothing to see here. Case closed. Move along. But it's not closed. It's only buried. The facts remain. The timelines remain. The deaths remain. The data remain. The patterns remain. And they all ask the very same question. How long will we pretend he acted alone? That's the question. And it's fascinating. So think about it, my friends. I hope I've given you something to think about, something interesting. Please like this video. Please subscribe to the channel. Please hit that little bell to be notified of new videos and live streams. And please answer the questions that I have placed at the end for you to reveal. They're very, very good, very interesting, very poignant, very fascinating. Because you're smarter than anybody ever gives you credit for. Thanks for watching, my friends. And now, comment as you see fit.